Record. Alrighty, good morning, everybody. I hope we're having another fantastic day. It's middle of the week, and I'm having a great day because, as I was just saying, it is my fiance's birthday today. And so we had a very chillaxed morning, and definitely grateful for birthdays. I love birthdays, and I do enjoy thoroughly providing a good birthday. So we had a great morning, great food, went for a walk, and our little man was very, very cheerful. So we spent almost an hour just giggling and playing, which was an incredible start to the day. So I'm very grateful today for laughter, family. Like I just said, my partner's family is over at the moment. And for someone who's traveled the world quite a bit and lives away from home, it's always nice when you have family around because, don't take them for granted. I've seen my family probably once in about 2 times in almost 5 years. And it can be hard being away from home, but these are the choices and sacrifices we make. So for all those who live close to their family or, see them on a regular basis, cherish it, give them an extra hug, tell them you love them. And if you don't, send them a message because family is important and our time with them is limited to some extent. So, just sending some gratitude today for families and for birthdays and for the joys that comes along with it. So please chuck in the group chat a little bit about any gratitude you have today. I was going to go off on a different tangent, but I'll leave it at that. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. Be sure to send them over to her. And then hopefully we'll be going out to dinner after this. So I love going out to dinner. I don't do it very often, but when I do, it's always a nice time. So let's have a look at some of this gratitude that's coming into the chat. Ooh. Wonderful family and friends. My computer is, come on. What's going on here? There we go. All right, happy birthday, happy birthday. Good morning, grateful for my daughter and she's feeling better. It's always good. I'm grateful for morning coffees with my husband and for authentic conversation. Nice, yeah. Genuine conversations, nice. I love that I found a partner who I can have good, strong, authentic conversations with. It makes a world of difference. Wonderful family and friends, enjoy, love it. I'm grateful for my patient wife and family. Yeah, my partner's very patient with me as well, which I'm very grateful for. She's been very supportive of my journey. And sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes we don't have that support and we don't have that patience that sometimes we need as entrepreneurs or as traders, etc. And so it's very good to find gratitude for those who can stand by us even after we fail a bunch of times. I'm grateful for trading training and a supportive team. Grateful for family, friend, and my community. Grateful for everything that my daughters do for me. They complete me. Isn't that sweet? Grateful for deep connections with family and friends. I'm so grateful for my trading partner and for the depth of honesty we have with each other. Nice. I love that. Like, that's so beautiful. Yes, it is. Grateful for my kids, good morning hugs, and their excitement for every new day. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that my little man can hug back with intention. It's a very nice thought. And yeah, I think that's awesome to have a great trading partner, especially one that is very honest and supportive. I think that's really key to trading. So it's great. It's the best when they even start rubbing or patting your back. Oh yeah, that would be nice. I'm looking forward to that. At the moment, I'm always holding him, giving him a pat or a rub, and I'm sitting there going, ooh, actually, I could really, really enjoy this myself. So can't wait for that. I'm grateful for a supportive family, my health, for my commitment, and taking care of myself. Awesome. I'm very grateful for this group that's growing, continuously getting bigger and bigger, which I love. People showing up, obviously enjoying what we're doing here, finding some value in the lessons that we're sharing. If you haven't managed to get onto most of these calls, they are on Spotify. Just look up the Success Shift and you shall find them the last 2.5 weeks. So all up recorded. So go check them out if you're missing anything. This week, we have been talking about our why. We've been really getting down to understanding why it's important, how it can help us on the charts, how it can help us in life, and how it can help in a bunch of different areas that we're trying to grow and accomplish greater things. And then yesterday we were talking about the four fears of trading, and how basically the entire charts are run from fear and greed. And if we can understand these four fears and use our emotional journals and use our understanding of ourselves to start to record which of these fears plays the biggest part in our trading, then hopefully we can start to dive deeper and pull back those layers to figure out how we can shift those fears and start to eradicate them from our trading plans and our trading styles, and hopefully come up with some results. But today we have a couple of people who are willing to open up and get a little bit more deep with us and go into the why. So we're actually going to do a exercise called 7 Levels Deep. I've been speaking about this for a little bit, and this I first heard from Dean Graziosi, and Mike's dropped the link in here. You can go do this on your own if you like. But I feel it's often better done with someone who will listen and can actually listen past the words and sort of a bit more into the concepts of what you're saying. And ideally, if you can, someone that you know, but if you don't, that's completely fine too. Someone that you can be honest with, and someone that, you know, you can really open up with. So we've got a couple of people who were willing to do that with the group today. So we'll get straight into that. And I believe, Kristine, are you here? You said you were keen to have a go.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. All right. So what we're going to do, if you just want to, I guess you said you think you know your why.
I have an idea, but perhaps there's a few more levels that I haven't yet been able to experience. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, do you want to share with us what you think your why is at the start, and then we can start to maybe get a little bit of your backstory, just a really short one to sort of know your environment and where you're coming from, and then we can start to go down the exercise and see if we end up on that path, or see if we get to that and need to go further, or see if we just end up somewhere completely different. So how does that sound for you?
Yeah, of course. That's great. So, like kind of at the core of what I think my why is freedom. It seems like no matter what I do, I always come back to freedom. So that's, freedom in health, when it means freedom from, cancer, illness, disease, all that. Freedom in relationships. So especially like in raising daughters, our daughters are, 14 and 17 now. So just freedom just to experience like real relationship with them, and to not be like so tied down by money that we don't have, not tied down by money, tied down by expenses, that we don't have the freedom to travel with them, the freedom to invest time with them. Like in our country, in Alberta, Canada, we just see families running, pardon the expression, but that shit crazy, just managing, jobs, and they really never get to experience life with their kids. So relationship is a part of that for sure. And the biggest right now why, like if I'm looking at what's ahead of me in the next 12 months, it's to free my husband from his career. He has a phenomenal career that pays him very well, but for years, and I mean, every year I see it a little bit more, that there's more, anxiety and stress and just weight, like lots of mental weight on him, that I just feel like, man, he's done so much for our family. I just really want now to take the reins and give him the rest that he could greatly be rewarded over the next couple of years. Not that he needs rest of no work, but rest from the stress, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. So there's lots of family there, and lots of very good reasoning behind what I feel working towards, and I think we've got a good avenue to go down. So do you want to tell us just maybe just 5 minutes, not even, because we don't have much time on this call, just a bit of your backstory, where you came from and why you got into trading, maybe how you found it and how long you've been doing it and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I only just began, I think in the beginning of September, potentially. I had looked at trading a little bit with HFX, with IM before, and it actually distracted me a lot from, at the time, the building cryptocurrency world. So we were very fortunate to build some great accounts with crypto, and we were not so fortunate to be smart enough to sell them all off. So we saw the peak and the low and the joys that come with that. So so now I'm thinking, well, son of a gun, if it's going to take this crypto market, 2 to 4 years to turn around, I want a right now tangible ability to essentially to increase wealth. It's not just to drive an income, it's to increase wealth. So yes, that's the reason for trading, if that's enough background.
Yeah, that's perfect. So just to increase wealth, because you've been through the lovely crypto cycles, as I have as well.
And it's such a joy. And then it's like, whoa, what just happened in the last 48 hours?
if you want to know emotions of trading, hold a substantial portfolio in crypto, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'll kill you if you are weak.
It
literally,
it will destroy you. As long as you haven't sold off, you're still good. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yes. At the end of the day, what's your Bitcoin value? That's all that matters. Yeah.
That's exactly it. So to start with, our what is obviously trading. That's kind of the reason that you've come into this world. It's the reason you're on these calls, etc. So the very first thing we're going to be obviously establishing is that what we're doing is trading. And from what I've heard, you've told me the first why level is basically to get that freedom. That's where you started from. Okay. So you want that freedom in health, right?
Yeah.
And that freedom in, what was the other thing you said? And that
Family
freedom
finance.
in
Yeah.
family finance.
Yeah. You know, honestly, like I have these 4 Fs that are like food, faith, family, and finance. Yeah, and literally freedom in all 4 of those areas, just because it kind of represents a full circle for our world for the most part.
Yes, it does, definitely. And so why do you think that like having that freedom, let's sort of start with the finance, I guess. And I think you touched on this briefly, but why is it important to you to have that freedom in finance?
Well, like the biggest now is to free my husband from a career that I do see him, yeah, just really, it sucks the life out of him. I see a
Yeah.
different man in November to January because it's not his busy season than the man
Okay.
I see from March to August. So yeah, I just want to give him his life back essentially.
Nice. And what does he do?
He's a realtor.
Realtor. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And so why is it important for you think, for him to have his life back? Like what is the major thing that you think he's going to benefit and why he really needs to have his life back, I guess?
You know, like I just seen that he's made so many sacrifices for us as a family, and he's questioned his career for years, and he's questioned it just because of the stress on the body and the mind that it brings. And so for me, it's like, you know, just seeing the sacrifice that he's poured out for our family all these years, like there's just, yeah, a tremendous desire to also have that same level of sacrifice for him. Not only that, I was in a business 8 years ago that I came to the point of it just really suffocating me, and I chose to walk away from a business that was yeah, it could have floated and sustained us 8 years ago, and he gave me the space to make the decision that I needed to make at that time. And I don't know, I just feel it would just be so honorable to be able to give him that same opportunity.
Right. Nice. So you really want to try and stop him from having that like smuggling of work, and because it sounds to me like the sacrifice that he's made for his family and like the sacrifice that I suppose what you said you made earlier, or he made earlier, to let you kind of take the reins, and now you want to return the favor and
Yeah,
sort of give him
yeah,
that
for
freedom.
sure. For sure. And we want to do it together. We've always envisioned working together, and we both believe this is an area, both in the trading and the investment world, that we could, you know, really own the reins together and do together. And so, yeah, we used to years ago sold real estate together, and, you know, having children, he, you know, gave space for me to leave that business and raise kids. And I'm so grateful for that, because I feel our lives are in a place that they never would have been had we both stayed in that business together. So, yeah.
I see. So what I'm hearing is more like the fact that you've had this opportunity to get to work together, right, in real estate, and
Yeah.
now you feel that that's still quite time sacrificing, stress sacrificing, health, I suppose, sacrificing, which you kind of mentioned earlier, and you want to try and shift that to I guess, a less stressful thing where you can both work together.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So obviously in there you've got a lot of stress release, and so I'm assuming that relates back to one of your health reasons, like you said at the start. And so why is it important for you to release that stress and for not to have those stress related issues with work?
I mean, I have a goal of living to be about 104 years old. Not about, I would love to surpass 100. And I want this, like, my husband's just a really great man, and I want him to enjoy life together.
Yeah.
My fear, and it's a real fear, is that every time he goes to a spring market, there's a new thing that surfaces in his body. And my fear is, holy shit, like, what if I get to live this long, great age and you don't get to experience it with me? And I mean, honestly, I don't want him to pour so much out into these years into work that can be, you know, fickle and fading, though yet still rewarding. I will not underestimate how rewarding and enjoyable it is to work alongside people.
Yeah,
Um,
nice.
but yeah, like I want a long, fulfilling life with him and for our kids and great, great grandkids.
Yeah, that's lovely. I mean, I think that's what lots of people sort of strive towards. So obviously there's a fear that you might health may take him from you sooner than you'll be like living, because you feel like you'll get to 104, which I love. I've always said I'm making it triple digits, hopefully 111 myself. But there must be a fear here that there's going to be, I think this is a very common fear with really long partners, that you'll have a loss maybe of him and be living without him. So why is it important to you, do you think, that that you have that time together, or that you sort of don't have to go through that extended period of time after each other? Because obviously in relationships there's two people, and unfortunately one tends to go before the other, vice versa. So why is it important to you that gap's really closed, do you think, and that he kind of outlives you to 104, if that's what your fear is?
I think, like at the core of who we are, we will only be as happy and as fulfilled as our deepest relationships. And so, we've done well, we've had lots of highs and lows, and not too extreme, like relationally. But I don't know, to be honest, this is a little bit of a brief background, but we were together young, got married or got pregnant within 7 months. And so I feel like him and I, as much as what we've raised kids well together, we've been in business well together, what we haven't been able to do is just be like real friends together. We get that bits and pieces now that we have teenagers, but it's just like, man, I want to live the life where we just get to be like, great companions and travelers, and, just invite people to vacation homes where they get to stay and enjoy, the time for free, because travel is not cheap. And so for those of our friends who really struggle day to day, we want to be able to provide those opportunities for them to just come and hang out and enjoy life together.
Nice. So would I be incorrect in saying that it's quite important for you two as a couple, seeing as you've done family and business, to now live your teenage years together with the finances and the freedom?
I love when I hear people get like 10 years together or building a relationship before they have a family. I'm like, that's amazing. And we are going to get lots of this goodness on the background, but we sure didn't get it on the forefront.
Right. So I think this is probably deeping more into like where your why is coming from. And obviously you've got family, relationships, finances, but I think they kind of, as we've dug a little bit deeper here, realizing that the actual want to spend those youth days and have the time freedom at the end of the relationship, rather than missing it at the front, is kind of one of the key aspects of why you want to have this time and finance and wealth freedom. And I think that's amazing. I think personally, like, a lot of couples do jump in, like my friends have jumped in way too quickly. I'm lucky, I traveled the world, I've done all the things basically before even having my little boy, and so we're very grateful, but lots of other families aren't. So would I be incorrect in saying that maybe on a deeper level you're wise to relive those youth days with your family, with your husband, shall we say?
Yeah, the freedom to do that would be absolutely incredible, for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's probably one of the, like, for me, when, like, as we were discussing, I find that even the concept of being a teenage, like that teenage relationship again, as a more mature relationship, like that even got me excited, because like I know for me, I've always said to my partner, I'm always going to be a child, right? It's just the way it is. You have to raise two of them. And so I think that maybe the idea of having that youthful fun stage at the start and trying to revitalize that is probably quite important to you. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it sounds like you do have a pretty good hold on your why, being the freedom and the health and stuff. But I think looking deeper into why that freedom is important, and I think we could even go probably down a slightly bit further into like your relationship with your partner and what that holds, and the things that maybe you feel you missed at the start of the relationship and stuff, or whatever that is to you. I don't want to go too down into your personal levels on a group, but I hope that, as you can see, we sort of discuss and pull back the layers a little bit. You can see there's a bit more depth as to why you just want the freedom, and a bit more depth as to why relationships are important to you. And I think, as we were discussing, and please let me know if this was helpful or not. If it wasn't at all, that's completely fine too. But I feel, you started to open up a little bit more about the idea of the relationship and the health, and you don't want him to have that stress and be split from him at too earlier an age, without getting to experience the joyful, youthful years of a relationship.
Yeah, I'd say that's really bang on. Like, even from a growing up standpoint, my parents raised us, and then they literally divorced within a few years after. And it's just like, life for them, like from a relational standpoint, it just weathered away right up until the point where they couldn't stand it anymore and they just separated. And it's like, just think there's so many wonder years to come after you've, raised these brilliant, beautiful human beings, that there's just so much more to grow with them into adulthood and so on. So yeah, it would be, that beyond kid stage is a huge factor for sure.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that's definitely like, for me, if I was in your situation, and I'm in a pretty similar situation. Like my dad left before I was born, and then my mum married an amazing man when I was like 2, but they broke up when I was 17, and I saw the effect that had on my sister and stuff. So I've got a very, very strong bond and want to make a beautiful, loving relationship with my fiance, because I don't want my kids to have to go through the same thing that I went through as a separation thing. So I know that when I go through family, because I'm very family oriented, that's part of my why, is that like, I don't want that same implication of a separated family to impact my kids like I feel it did me, and more so my sister. And so I think that when you're sitting there and you're having those hard days and you're like, man, this is tough, I don't want to do this, then you just have to revisit. You're like, I want to have these childish days with my husband. Like, I don't care how bad our relationship is right now or whatever we're fighting about, because couples fight, but I'm going to stick with this, and I'm going to make this training work so that we can go on holiday with all that freedom and just be kids again overseas. And we're not going to have to go down the same path that my parents went through. And this is why I'm going to continue on. And I think you can start to feel the core roots of that coming through from, and as I said it before, most whys come from a childhood sort of area. And we can see that yours has come from that sort of early childhood separation of your parents, wanting to really hold a strong relationship in your relationship. And that's like, I know that because it's very similar to mine. That's the only reason why I can relate so strong. But I hope that that's maybe helped unravel a little bit deeper into your why. And you can even go a little bit deeper into these as well. But I feel we've dug quite a little way, and if that's hopefully helped you understand your why a little bit better.
I feel like at the why I understood freedom, but then I think you asking why freedom was actually just, it really helped to narrow down the tangible experience of why that freedom is important. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and this is why this exercise is so important, because lots of people will have that surface level. Like, I believe you probably already did a bit of work to get to that freedom stage. You may have gone 2 or 3 levels deep, but usually that freedom, that money, that finance, that health is kind of like only a couple levels down. And once you start digging back why, like maybe you lost a parent early, or maybe there's some other reason, like you were in a trauma thing in your childhood, and that starts to really peel back and get to those deeper levels. And like, thank you so much for sharing and opening up. I think a few people in the chat have really appreciated your honesty and the ability to really discuss with you today. But as you can see, like, you did have a why, but now I hope that as we've dug deeper into this, like, that why is just a lot stronger. And like, if you have those harder days, you can be like, no, I remember I did this exercise with Jake, and I actually really don't want my husband and I to be separated at 100. I want to be running around as kids at 100. And so I'm going to keep going with this. I don't want my kids to have the same thing that I went through. So I'm going to keep going with this. And so that's kind of like the added benefit of going those extra levels deep. And it's usually the top 3 or 4 that start off pretty surface for most. But when you really get down those last 2 or 3 levels, like we have, you get into the more personal and detailed reasons why. So hopefully that has helped.
Yeah, huge help. My eyes are teary, and I find whenever we get to core, whenever I can figure out core stuff, it just, those emotions really start to surface. So I'm there. So thank you. That's
I didn't want to make you cry, but this is an emotional exercise, and I really appreciate your honesty and opening up and sharing with the group. So thank you so much. And I'm sorry if you're teary, but that's a good sign. It means you're really getting down to the core reasons why. And now you can sort of take this, and if you've got notes, or you can listen to the recording as well, you can sort of go back and evaluate, maybe like, okay, these are some of the core beliefs and values that I've had, and this is some of the way that I can like lead out my life. And if I know that this is at this core of who I am, and the fact that you had that with your parents, and like you've got this relationship with your partner now, like that's going to affect a bunch of other, like that's going to affect how you respond to a bunch of other areas in your life. And so you can use this exercise and sort of, as you get deeper, and sort of branch off into different aspects as well. So again, thank you so much. There's definitely a lot coming through the chat. Do you have anything else you'd like to add or say to that before I move on to the chat and continue on?
No, please. I know time is of the essence. So please carry on with what you need to do. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Let's just have a quick flick through the chat here. We've got people ready to take notes. Me too. Our number 1 has been 101 and more. Good for you, Jake. Love that. Thank you, Kristine, for sharing with us your why and your background. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I was hearing importance of depth of quality relationships as well. Yeah, so beautiful. I'm grateful. Kristine shared her why. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. Your why really resonates. And I'm so happy you found the community to support your goals and dreams. Thank you for this. Yes, I really appreciate you sharing your why. Thank you for sharing. Such an important aspect. Help me to I'm teary too. There you go. So obviously this exercise works for a lot of people. It really helps to get to those core levels. And we'll find that as humans, you know, we've all been through shit. We've all had our stories. Some have had it 10 times worse and some have had it nowhere near, but it's all relative. You know, everyone's had what they've been through and it hurts everyone in their own special way, right? And as we dig down to these core beliefs and these core values, we find that there's usually something like I said, from our childhood that's stuck with us, that's resonated with us, that has been from, you know, a time in our life where maybe our conscious mind wasn't strong enough to protect our subconscious mind and rationalize thought as to how something affected us. And it hangs around with us. Like it just makes us who we are. And getting to these real core levels and understanding like some of those emotions that come up. And as we saw, Kristine was emotional, which is exactly kind of what it should be when you're getting down to these core beliefs. And when you're that honest with yourself. And, you know, these are the things that when we learn this about ourselves, when we understand who we are to that depth, we can really change our life and shift in any direction, like any direction we want to. And this is what I truly believe, digging back those layers and getting into like the subconscious, and just you have to ask the right questions and really go down the right path to figure out, holy shit, I didn't even realize that that's like why I did this or why I did that. You know, I don't know, Kristine, maybe you did or maybe you didn't, but you know, the fear of losing your husband or the fear of, you know, not being able to experience like having that missed front part of the relationship. I don't know if that was already prominent in your thinking, but after we discuss it, maybe it's come to surface a bit more and you can utilize that and go, that's right. I forgot that that's really what I want to do. I'm going to start chasing that. So
Yeah, for sure.
thank you very much for sharing. This has taken us pretty much the whole class thing, meeting, whatever we want to call this thing. Sorry, the whole episode. But I really appreciate it. And I'm sure lots of people did. Our community is continuously growing. I'm more than happy to do this again with people now that you've heard the exercise, now that you've seen how it goes. We can do this continuing through, because I think once you do this once, you get a much better understanding of who you are and how you can sort of self-evaluate yourself. And some people may have done it to a certain level. Some people may have not done it at all. Kristine said she's already sort of understood it. So I'm happy to continue this. Maybe we'll do it again on Friday. And if there's more and more people that reach out to me that like to do this exercise, we can do it in a group setting like this. Or if you really don't want to do it in a group setting and you'd still like to do the exercise, let me know. I don't want to say that I've got enough time to do everyone individually, but depending on how many people I get, I can do that, but I prefer to do it in a group setting so you can actually help other people, because I'm sure there's people on the call who've got a very similar story to Kristine who are listening and going, that's me, that's me, that's me. Holy shit, I feel exactly the same. And you can actually start to get the relief from that and maybe just go away with a different way of thinking about yourself. And I think it's very beneficial to do it in a group. So with that said, thank you very much, everyone. If you'd like to do this exercise in the group, please send me a message. We do have time on Friday, and I do have a couple of other people who have asked, so we'll get to those people on Friday. Other
Jake,
than that, yep.
Jake, just before we say goodbye here, consider for tomorrow, I think I see this being really, really valuable. And if you had some other volunteers, I think we should continue with this if you're okay tomorrow as well. And then I'll do a session next week, Thursday. I'll just in that way, because it gives enough time with the 30 minutes, it goes pretty quick, right? That time. So rather than dividing it up, I think if we could, take even, one tomorrow and one Friday. And I think I can see it being valuable. I know even myself, I need to go deeper into my why. I have that higher level why. Have it in my mind, you know what I mean? Thoughts, but don't have it really written down. I like the evaluation, like going through the steps there with Kristine. That was really good, really, really, really helpful. Yeah. So you think about it, and if you want different than that, you just let me know.
Okay, no worries. Okay? Yeah, well, I'll see how people go with messaging me afterwards, and maybe if you've already messaged me, let me know if you'd like to do it tomorrow, if you want to do it Friday, etc., and for other people as well. But yeah, okay, I'll let you know, and we'll think about it. Give it a little thought. Okay. Thank you. No worries.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. For our traders, I will see you on the trading call. I'll probably only be for a short time because, like I said, it is my fiance's birthday, but I'll pop in, say hello, and see if we can get some early pips. And to the rest of us, I love that our group is growing here. I will see you tomorrow. And again, if you can't make it, they should all be on the podcast. All right, everybody. I will love you and leave you. Bye for now.
Thank you.